Yes, Mom. Okay. Ow. Yes, I know. Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Well, hello. I am Lyric Joseph-Armstrong, and I'm here to present my persuasive speech relative to screen usage. And I'm giving you a demonstration of how my children do me. All the time. This is how they treat me. They're always in this device. If I get to see their face at all, it's usually like this. And if we have a communication, it's usually like this. Yes. Ow. Yes. Ow. Because they're not paying attention to what's around them. They're running into something, or they're communicating to the device and saying, ugh. And I'm saying, what do you mean? Oh, no, not you, Mom. I'm talking to the device. Yay. Communication has changed. So let's talk about communication just a little bit. We communicate with our words, but we also communicate with our body. And we have been told that eye communication, eye contact is quite important. Well, how do we relate to that? How do we know that eye contact is important? Well, according to the conversation aid quoted by the Michigan State University, eye contact should be ideally 50% when you're speaking and 70% when you're listening. So when you're in the audience, you're looking at your speaker 70% of the time. And that's because you want to kind of read the body language. You want to see if they're confident about what they have to say. And you sometimes need to read the lips because maybe they have an accent or they speak a little differently in tonation, and you need to take quite note as to what words are coming forth. Now, body language was also reported in Psychology Today. There was a study done by Dr. Albert Meherbrian. And he did 2 studies, and it was in 1967. And he came up with a formula called the 60-40 formula. 60% was body language. And we know body language is gestures, but he also, of course, included facial expressions. You can understand if someone's being sincere, if they are smiling and they're giving you a positive vibe, or if they're joking, they might do something a little like this. You never know. But otherwise, that is a part of your body language. Now, your 40% based on Dr. Albert's study was the verbal communication. And so we say, okay, yes, the words that were said, of course, are highly important. That's 40%. Well, he kind of broke that down a little bit more, but he included tone. Tone was very important. So if you were very stern, then you were very much in agreement and found it very important for someone to pay attention. Otherwise, if you were, a little nicer, a little warming, then maybe they would receive you even better because they wouldn't be on the defense or scared because you were so stern in your communication. Nevertheless, he noted that that was a part of the 40%, not just the actual words. Now, my children, however, they feel like eye contact, body language, what? Who cares? Just say what you mean and I'll hear you. I said I heard you, so I heard you. But reality is they did not. Okay, let's be real. They heard me maybe 50%. I say to them, take out the trash and wash the dishes. What do? They take out the trash. Well, why didn't you wash the dishes? You didn't tell me that. I did tell you that. I told you that. And I equate that to they're stuck. Either their brains are stuck or their concentration is stuck on some type of device. Now, we have our phones as a device, but reality is we have all types. We have laptops, we have computers and phones and smartphones and just everything to connect us to the World Wide Web. Now, according to the Vermont study in 2017, worldwide texting study, we text 72 text messages a day worldwide. That's 560 billion text messages a month worldwide. I wish we could change that to money. I wish I made that kind of money every month. Anyway, so it's text messages. And that's what we are doing as a community in the World Wide Web. We are communicating by text message. So maybe this is why we don't quite understand each other too often, because we don't spend time in actual physical communication, using our facial expressions, our body language, or at least our verbal cues and tones. Text messages are pretty small. We're trying to convey a message real quickly. So I don't know. I don't think we're being effective in our communication. And if we take that to the US, we're doing 6 billion text messages a day. The United States is contributing 6 billion text messages a day to the statistic. And consequently, Americans are texting twice as much as they are actually making a phone call. So yes, we're losing verbal cues. That 40% that Dr. Albert spoke of is now going down because we're not even using our actual verbal tones. We're deciding to text twice as much. And we wonder why people don't understand what we mean and why we don't have the ability to understand one another. We're not spending too much time on trying. Now, we are texting on our phones, but we don't always use just our phones. We, of course, like I said, have our laptops and our iPads and all of our tablets, just are wonderful devices, right? So our computer usage, according to American Community Survey, which was reported by the Census Bureau in 2016, was that 89% of the U.S. households have a computer. 89% of the U.S. household have a computer or device of a computer-like operation. And Jay Clement in 2018 reported on the Statista.com that people on average spend 117 minutes daily on a computer. 117 minutes daily on a computer. Now, once again, we have now found that we are lacking in our communication because we are not using our nonverbal cues to help communicate. People are not understanding our intent as well as they should. And therefore, and we're doing this because of our overuse of text messaging, or the way we are, interacting is without eye contact, right? Or very less usage of eye contact. So what are some of the other effects of this type of communication or this usage of devices? So a main effect that I want you to remember, those teenagers that tell you they need this phone, they have to have this phone, their whole life is on this phone, their whole being is on this phone, and it makes them happy because it connects them. Well, according to Melissa Hunt at Penn State, they did a study and found that teenagers have a higher depression and loneliness rate due to their computer usage. They're connected to social media, and that connection has put their mental health at risk. So no, teenager, you don't need that. Quite contrary, you kind of need to learn to live, not maybe without it, but not with it so much. Now, the next effect is reported by the National Institute of Health, that children who spend 2 hours a day on a device tend to have lower thinking and language scores on tests compared to their peers. 2 hours a day, 120 minutes a day. Remember, I told you, Jay Clement said the average American is spending 117 minutes a day on a device. So what's going on? We're just trying to make sure we're under 3 minutes before we're at the 2 hours a day? No. Of course, we need to take more note and higher concentration on the fact that we are affecting ourselves. We are losing our connections socially because we are communicating with a device primarily, that we're not using even the simplest of communication, which is our speech intonation. And we are affecting our mental health because we're constantly involved in the device and trying to look for an altered reality that does not really usually exist. And consequently, our teenagers are highly affected with their mental health, depression and loneliness being the components spoken of. And we're also affecting even our young children because their learning cognitive abilities are being negatively affected. They're not scoring as high as their peers who are not spending 2 hours a day on a device. So, no, we don't need the phone as much as we think. And no, we don't need the devices as much as we think. In fact, we need to learn how to restrain ourselves from overusage because we, in fact, need people way more than we think we do. And the devices are supposed to help connect us, but we're supposed to nurture those connections through actual communication. Now, COVID-19, maybe not face-to-face, but maybe at least via phone and not so much text. All right, thank you. I hope I've helped to persuade you to at least put down your phone and your devices and not use them as much as 117 minutes a day or 2 hours a day. Because in fact, we don't want to diminish our cognitive ability and we want to actually nurture our relationships.